People think running out of gas is the worst thing that can happen to a car. Nope. I've seen cars totaled because their owner skipped a $40 fluid change. A simple protective measure, not taken in time, turned into a $6,000 ordeal. So fellas, today we're talking 11 stupid fluid change mistakes that will wreck your car faster than a curb check on a race day. Don't fret at all, because I'll show you how to avoid them, what to check on camera, and finally, the real stuff I fixed in my own bay so you don't learn the hard way. Stick around to the end, I'll give you a cheat sheet so you can use on your next service appointment. So the shopkeeper can't rip you off, and I'll also reveal 5 bad maintenance habits that destroy cars. Let's go. Mistake number 1, treating engine oil like set and forget. People love to call oil the king of fluids, and they're right. It's the lifeblood of your engine, but too many DIY mechanics think changing the oil just means cracking the plug, letting a dribble come out, and dumping in some new oil. No, that's not a change. That's a half-baked oil cocktail. Here are the 2 rookie sins I see way too often. First sin, draining cold oil. Oil is thick, lazy, and it clings to every nook and cranny in your engine, which means all that sludge and metal grit just sits there waiting to mix with your shiny new oil. The fix is simple. Run the engine for a few minutes first. Warm oil flows like water and actually drags out the nasty stuff hiding in the passages. Second sin, ignoring the tiny details, like reusing an old crush washer or forgetting the old filter gasket stuck to the block. Trust me, that's a silent time bomb. Best case, you get drips all over your driveway. Worst case, the gasket double stacks, your filter blows out on startup, and suddenly you've got 0 oil pressure. And all you know, engines don't last long in an oil drought. Hence, do it the right way. Warm the engine, drain it fully, use a fresh crush washer, wipe the filter seat clean, and torque both the filter and drain plug to spec. Do that and your engine will literally thank you with another 100,000 miles of life. Skip it and you'll be Googling engine rebuild costs faster than you can say, should have just bought a new washer. Mistake number 2, topping off with tap water or mixing wrong coolant types. Coolant is not just colored water or a gimmick to rip you off. No, it's your car's bodyguard, regulating temperature, protecting against corrosion, and even lubricating the water pump. Treat it like it's flavored Kool-Aid, and you're basically signing your coolant system's death certificate. Here's where people mess up. Tap water topping. Sounds innocent, right? Wrong. Tap water is loaded with minerals, sodium, calcium, magnesium, you name it. Inside your radiator, those minerals harden into scale. Scale is like cholesterol for your cooling system. It clogs the arteries, traps heat, and makes the engine run hotter, adding freezing temps into the mix. And straight water can expand and crack your block. That's not a repair, that's a whole new engine, something you cannot go back and reverse. Mixing coolant types. This one's sneaky. You've got IAT, OAT, HOAT, and a whole alphabet soup of chemicals. Mix the wrong 2, and instead of cooling, you get a bowl of green and orange jello. That sludge plugs up heater cores, block radiators, and leaves your temp gauge climbing into the danger zone. The golden rule, stick with the exact type your manual calls for. No mixing, no shortcuts. And when you flush the system, don't just drain the radiator. Open the heater core circuit too, or you're leaving behind a swamp of old fluid. That might prove extremely harmful, so you've got to be careful when it comes down to this. Mistake number 3, ignoring brake fluid. It drinks water. Now this is something that takes everyone by shock. Your brake fluid is slowly drinking water. No, really. That plastic reservoir under your hood, it has a tiny vent so it can breathe with pressure changes. And that vent is basically a welcome mat for moisture. Brake fluid is hygroscopic, which means it loves absorbing water out of the air. And once that water sneaks in, some very bad and unacceptable things happen. The boiling point drops dramatically. Fresh DOT4 fluid can handle insanely high temps. But add just 3 to 4% water and suddenly those temps plummet. When you're braking hard, the water boils into vapor pockets and vapor compresses. That's when you feel a spongy pedal. Or worst case, the pedal goes to the floor and your car doesn't stop. Scary? Absolutely. Preventable? Totally. The fix is simple. Test your brake fluid regularly. A $10 tester or even a simple color strip can tell you in 2 minutes if it's time for a flush. And here's a rule of thumb. Most manufacturers recommend flushing every 2 years. Sounds excessive? Not when you realize the brake fluid is one of the cheapest fluids in the car and brake failure is one of the most expensive oops moments you'll ever have. Mistake number 4, using the wrong power steering fluid or ignoring the manual. Power steering fluid might look like just another oil, but the wrong choice can ruin your day and your rack and pin on. Some cars demand a dedicated power steering fluid, while others use a very specific type of automatic transmission fluid. Mess this up, and you're looking at swollen seals, whining pumps, and a steering rack that gives up way before its time. Honda is the poster child for this. They literally print in the manual, use genuine Honda power steering fluid or else. Ignore that, and in cold weather, your steering can feel heavy or even fail to assist properly. Other brands are just as picky, but people assume fluid is fluid and dump in whatever's on the shelf. Here's the right way. Clean around the cap before opening so you don't drop dirt into the system. Use a suction pump or even a turkey baster to pull out old fluid. Top up with the correct type, and then turn the wheel lock to lock a few times to bleed the air out. Repeat until the fluid runs clear. It's simple, it's clean, and it saves you a 4-digit repair bill down the road. Number 5. Believing in lifetime transmission fluid. The idea of lifetime transmission fluid sounds fantastic when you first hear it at the dealership. Who wouldn't want a fluid that never needs changing? But here's the uncomfortable truth. When car makers say lifetime, what they usually mean is for the lifetime of the warranty. Once the car passes 60,000 or 100,000 miles, that promise becomes more of a marketing gimmick than a technical reality. Transmission fluid works harder than almost any other fluid in a car. It lubricates clutches and bearings. It cools a unit that routinely sees temperatures of over 200 degrees Fahrenheit, and it acts as hydraulic fluid to engage gears with precision. Over time, all of that heat and friction breaks down the additives inside the fluid. Fresh fluid should be bright red and have a clean, almost sweet smell. By the time it turns brown and carries a burnt odor, it's already losing its protective qualities. If it gets to the point of looking black and gritty with tiny metallic specks, that isn't fluid anymore. That's a transmission crying for help. Those specks are clutch material and bearing shavings, and if you see them, you're already on borrowed time. Many owners have learned this the hard way. BMW, for instance, once marketed the ZF 6-speed automatics as filled for life. But ZF, the actual manufacturer, recommended fluid and filter changes around 60,000 miles. The same disconnect exists with Toyota's WS fluid, Mercedes' 722/6 gearboxes, and countless others. The people who rebuild transmissions for a living will tell you the same story. The cars that get fluid services last longer. So what's realistic? For everyday drivers, changing the fluid and filter every 30,000 to 40,000 miles is a smart move. If you tow, drive off-road, or sit in endless stop-and-go traffic, the interval should be even shorter, sometimes as low as 20,000 miles. Certain designs like CVTs and dual-clutch transmissions are even more sensitive and need fresh fluid more often. And no, you can't just pour in whatever jug looks close enough. Honda requires DW1, Toyota uses WS, Ford specifies Mercon LV or ULV, Chrysler insists on ATF plus 4, and so on. For many modern vehicles, a universal fluid like Valvoline MaxLife multi-vehicle ATF works well, but it still needs to meet the exact specification listed in the manual. Using the wrong fluid can cause shift issues or even outright failure. Here's the math that really drives it home. A fluid and filter service might cost you $200. A transmission rebuild will set you back anywhere from $3,500 to $6,000. A brand new transmission, easily $7,000 to $10,000, and that's before labor. The bottom line is simple. Lifetime fluids are a myth. Transmission fluid wears out just like engine oil, only with far higher stakes. A little preventative care now saves thousands later, and it's one of the clearest examples in car ownership where cheap insurance pays off in a big way. Mistake number 6. Transmission service done wrong. Even when people finally admit that lifetime transmission fluid isn't really lifetime, the way the service is performed can make or break the gearbox. Too many shops cut corners, either out of laziness or they're trying to shave time off the job. I've seen shops skip the filter change entirely, slap the pan back on with the old gasket still in place, or worse, use whatever generic ATF they have lying around. That might sound harmless, but for modern transmissions, especially CVTs and dual clutch units, the wrong fluid isn't just a minor mistake. It can mean catastrophic failure within weeks. A CVT that needs Nissan NS3 or Subaru CVT fluid will not survive on Dexron 3. Same goes for dual clutch transmissions, where specialized fluids are engineered to balance lubrication and friction. One wrong jug and you're looking at harsh shifting, flipping clutches, or complete gearbox death. Then there's the infamous power flush. Many chain shops love selling high-pressure flush service, promising it'll make your transmission like new. The problem? For high-mileage cars, blasting fluid at high pressure through a system with years of varnish and deposits, it's like shaking a snow globe inside the transmission. All that debris gets stirred up and shoved into the delicate valve bodies, clogging passages and causing shift solenoids to stick. Instead of protecting your transmission, that kind of flush can accelerate its death. The proper way is slower, but it's the way the professionals do it. You drain the old fluid, drop the pan, replace the filter and gasket, and clean the magnet at the bottom of the pan. The magnet will almost always have some fuzz on it. That's normal wear. But if you see thick piles of clutch material or shiny metallic flakes, that's a warning sign of early failure. After cleaning everything, you refill with the exact fluid your vehicle requires and torque the pan bolts to the correct specification. Anything less is sloppy work. And if a shop suggests we'll top it off, that's your cue to grab your keys and walk out. Transmission service isn't about shortcuts. It's about precision. Done right, it buys your gearbox years of extra life. Done wrong, it shortens that lifespan dramatically. Mistake number 7. Neglecting differential and transfer case fluids. Differentials and transfer cases are the unsung heroes of your drivetrain. They don't get dashboard lights, they don't have dipsticks you check every oil change, and they're hidden underneath the car where nobody looks. Because of that, they're often forgotten until they start howling, whining, or outright failing. These components live under brutal conditions, handling extreme heat and crushing gear loads. And just like transmission fluid, their gear oil isn't immortal. Over time, the additives wear out, the oil loses its protective qualities, and metal starts grinding on metal. What makes it trickier is that not all diffs and transfer cases are the same. Limited slip differentials, for example, often require special friction modifiers in their fluid. Skip that and you'll end up with chatter, poor traction, and premature wear. Checking the fluid is fairly simple. Most of the time, it's as easy as removing the fill bolt. If fluid trickles out, you're good on level. But if it smells burnt, looks metallic, or doesn't flow, it's overdue for a change. Ignoring those signs can mean your first warning is a nasty whine at highway speed, followed by a bill for a rebuild. Service intervals vary depending on how you use the vehicle. For severe duty, towing, hauling heavy loads, or off-roading, you're looking at 30,000 to 50,000 miles. For lighter duty highway cruisers, you might stretch it to 60,000 or even 100,000 miles. But here's the truth. If you plan to keep your car for the long haul, sooner is always safer. Gear oil is cheap. A bottle of high-quality synthetic like Mobil 1, 75W-90, or Redline costs less than a dinner for two. Compare that to the cost of replacing a cooked transfer case or a whining rear differential, easily $1,000 to $3,000. And you see how neglecting it is one of the most expensive mistakes you can make. Spending $50 every few years beats buying a new diff any day of the week. Mistake number 8. Treating diesel exhaust fluid, DEF, like it's optional. If you drive a modern diesel, DEF is not nice to have, it's mandatory. Diesel exhaust fluid is a carefully balanced mix, 32.5% high-purity urea and 67.5% deionized water. It feeds the selective catalytic reduction (CSR) system, which cuts down toxic NOx emissions. Skip it or use the wrong stuff, and your truck isn't just polluting, it's sabotaging itself. Here's the catch. DEF must meet ISO 22241 standards. Bad or contaminated fluid, say from a container left open in a dusty storage, can poison the CSR catalyst. And if your DEF tank actually runs dry, many trucks go into limp mode or even refuse to restart until you top it up. Storage matters too. Leave DEF in the sun or in a hot shed and it degrades fast. That jug you bought last summer may already be bad. Brands like Blue Def Platinum or Peak Blue Def are designed to resist deposits, but even they need to be sealed and stored properly. Mistake number 9. Overlooking clutch, hydraulic fluid in manuals. Manual drivers, this one's for you. Your clutch pedal doesn't just work by magic, it's hydraulic, and that means it relies on brake fluid, usually the same DOT3 or DOT4 that's in your brake system. And just like in brakes, that fluid is hydroscopic. It absorbs water over time. Neglect it, and here's what happens. The pedal goes soft, engagement gets inconsistent, and one day you'll stall out on a hill because the clutch won't disengage properly. I've seen people blame the clutch disc or slave cylinder when really all they need was a $10 flush. So the move is every time you check your brake fluid, check the clutch reservoir too. If it's dark and cloudy, flush it. Use a bottle of DOT4 like ATE Type 200 or Motul RBF 600, both excellent for high heat and daily use. It's simple, cheap, and it can keep your manual gearbox happy for years. Mistake number 10. AC refrigerant. Wrong type or dump and run recharges. Nothing kills summer faster than a dead AC, but here's where people blow it, literally. They grab one of those top-up cans from the parts store and just start blasting refrigerant into the system. Big mistake. First off, AC is a sealed system. Refrigerant doesn't just evaporate unless you've got a leak. If it's low, topping it up without fixing the leak is like refilling a tire with a nail in it, temporary at best, and dangerous at worst. Second, refrigerant types matter. Older cars mostly use R134A. Newer ones, especially post-2017, often use R1234YF. They're not interchangeable. Put the wrong one in, and you can damage the compressor or contaminate the whole system. Signs of a leak: look for oily residue around fittings. Listen for hissing or use UV dye to trace bubbles. The professional route is a vacuum and pressure test before adding any refrigerant. And when you do recharge, use the proper amount. Overcharging can kill the compressor just as quickly as undercharging. Compressors aren't cheap. I've seen bills north of $1,200 just for parts. So skip the dump and run kits. A proper service saves your wallet and your sweat. Mini section fuel and fuel system cleaners. Fuel isn't set and forget either. Cheap fuel, running your tank near empty, or skipping cleaners all add up to clogged injectors and failing fuel pumps. When you suck the tank dry, you're pulling sediment right into the pump. That's why old fuel pumps die noisy, wheezing deaths. A little prevention goes a long way. Every few thousand miles, run a good cleaner like Chevron Techron Concentrate Plus, Royal Purple Max Clean, or BG44K if you want to go pro level. These dissolve carbon, keep injectors spraying properly, and protect the pump. And if you're already noticing a rough idle or misfires, don't waste bottles of cleaner. That's time for a proper injector cleaning service. Shops use pressurized cleaners directly into the fuel rail, and the difference is night and day. Ignore it and you're looking at poor mileage, bad emissions, and eventually a repair bill that makes you wish you'd spent $12 on a bottle of Techron. Mistake number 11, doing partial changes or following myths. Don't touch black ATF. There's this stubborn myth: if your transmission fluid's black, don't touch it. Changing it will make it fail. That myth is half truth, half horror story. Here's the real deal. On some high mileage transmissions, say a 200k mile Toyota Camry that's never been serviced, doing a sudden 100% fuel exchange can wash away varnish and clutch dust that's been holding things together. That can choke a delicate valve body or shock a warm pump. That's where the myth came from. But doing nothing is often worse. Black ATF isn't magic glue. It's a cooked fluid that's lost its lubricating and cooling properties. That's how bearings get fried and clutch packs slip. The balance play? Stage service. Do a drain and fill, usually 3 to 4 quarts, drop the pan, swap the filter, and clean the magnet. Drive a week, repeat. Brands like Valvoline Max Life ATF or OEM fluids, Toyota WS, Honda DW1, Ford Mercon LV, keeps things safe. Always torque the pan bolts, replace the gasket or clutch washers. Little details prevent leaks later. I had a customer with a Nissan Altima who swore by the don't touch it myth. His CVT fluid looked like burnt coffee. He ignored it until one day it just slipped into oblivion. $3,800 rebuild. If he had staged a fluid change 6 months earlier, it probably would have lived. 5 habits that kills cars fast. Read these slowly because they're universal killers. Number 1, ignoring dashboard lights. That check engine is your car waving a red flag. Don't ghost it. Number 2, delaying small repairs. That $30 coolant hose drip, it becomes a cracked head gasket or heater core. Number 3, constant overloading. Hauling bricks in a Civic or towing max load every day kills suspensions and transmissions. Number 4, bad tire maintenance. I'm talking bald tires, mismatched sets, never rotating. That chews through suspension and fuel economy. Number 5, aggressive driving. Hard launches, burnt out flexes, panic stops. Your car ages like milk in the sun. I once had a customer with a BMW X5 who bragged about lifetime transmission fluid. He waited until it was slipping so badly that the dealer quoted him more than the SUV's value. He could have spent $150 on fluid and filter. Instead, he spent $6,000 on a rebuilt unit. Final printable checklist: oil, warm drain, replace filter, new crush washer, torque to spec. Castrol Edge Mobile 1. Coolant, use manufacturer specified type. Flush and bleed heater core. Never top with tap water. Prestone Xerox G05 for Ford Chrysler, Honda Type 2 Blue. Brakes, test fluid, flush about every 2 years. Fresh fluid equals reliable stopping. Valvoline Global ATE Type 200. Power steering, use the exact fluid. Honda requires genuine PSF, GM Dexron 3, etc. Don't universal this one. Transmission, inspect color and smell. Service fluid, filter 30 to 40K under severe use. Don't blindly trust lifetime. Valvoline Max Life ATF, OEM brands. Differential transfer case, change gear oil at severe intervals. Look for burnt smell or metallic glitter. Redline 75W90, AmSoil severe gear. DEF, diesels, top to spec, use an ISO 22241 compliant, store sealed. Blue Def, Peak, API certified. AC, pressure test for leaks before recharging. Use the correct refrigerant, R134A, R1234YF. Fuel, Avoid running on fumes. Use quality fuel, Shell, V-Power, Chevron Techron, periodic fuel system cleaning helps. A customer once told me I'm saving money by skipping a $20 filter. That save cost him $6,000 in a rebuilt transmission. Don't be that guy. Be stubborn about specs. Keep a log. Ask your mechanic to show you the old filter, the drain fluid, the magnetic fuzz. Transparency equals trust.